Hello, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv, and today was Apple's day. Today is September 5th, Apple's announcement on a bunch of things, but the purpose of this video is to talk about the iPhone price drop. Now, as you know, a lot of people stood in line on June 29th and paid $599 for an 8GB iPhone. Now, 60 days later, on September 5th, Apple has announced a $200 price drop on an 8GB iPhone. It is now $399 instead of $599. So we have about a 30% price drop in about 60 days or so. Ouch! I'm what you call an early adopter, so I buy a lot of gadgets and a lot of things when they first come out. But I'm used to them remaining the same price for at least 5 or 6 months, sometimes even a year. For example, the Xbox 360, I bought that I think in November 2005. Was it November 2005? Yeah, 2005. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. And it recently just had a price drop a couple months ago. The PlayStation 3, I bought that November of last year, and it recently had a price drop. So that's been years and 6 to 8, maybe 10 months. Even I know cell phones have a higher rate of price droppage, but I don't recall any being 2 months. So I gotta say I'm a little bit disappointed that this happened so soon. I'm quite sure there are some great business reasons for this. I know Apple just came out with a new product called the iPod Touch, which is essentially the iPhone without the phone, and they priced that at $299 and $399. So I think the iPhone was kind of priced around that, but the timing could not be worse. For those of us who bought the iPhone who had no clue that the iPod Touch would be out this soon or at all, because Apple keeps everything so secretive. None of these things were announced, so we really didn't know. So there's a little bit of disappointment in Apple. I mean, generally I'm pleased by what they do, but for this decision, I'm not very happy as a consumer. I really don't care about the business part. I'm not a stockholder. I just know that I paid $600 60 days ago, and now it's $400. So that's a pretty huge price drop for this is a brand new product, just released. This is not an iteration, hasn't been out for years, because I know, trust me, I know about price drops. I've been a victim of price drops for so long, and I understand that when you buy electronics and you buy gear, that the price could drop at any time. Not after 2-3 months. Sorry, that's just unknown to me. I mean, after 6 months, yeah. After a year, yeah. It's eventually going to drop. I know it's eventually going to drop, but this was just way too soon. So I'm hoping Apple does what they did with Aperture. Aperture was released, I believe, for $500 initially, and then a very short amount of time after that, it was reduced to $300. What Apple did is that they issued a $200 credit to the customers who bought it for $500. So I'm hoping that they do something similar to that on a grander scale for everyone, not just those who bought it at Apple stores, but those who also bought it at AT&T stores. I hope they do that, because initial reports from the forums is that people are calling Apple sales and they're getting credits, and they're calling Apple stores and they're getting credits, but those of us on the AT&T side who bought at the AT&T store aren't getting really anything. So I think Apple needs to address this as a vendor. They need to address this as a whole, and put some confidence back into their most valuable and most loyal fans. So we'll see what happens. If Apple doesn't issue me personally a $200 rebate, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm just going to eat it like I do with most other devices. But man, 60 days. That is just too short for me. Alright, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv. A little bit down, a little bit depressed because my iPhone I paid $200 only 60 days ago. $200 more. Okay, let me catch my breath.